Hey everyone, Jarek here, and it's been a little while. So where have I been? Well, my main channel is a video game channel, and October and November are always incredibly busy months, so I just haven't had time to focus on this channel as much. If you're curious about that channel, it's Jarek the Gaming Dragon. I'll put a link to one of my videos in the top right. But this is the Tactical Unicorn. It should look pretty familiar because it's effectively a variant of this, the original Unicorn made by XYL. Now, this was already a pretty dang good blaster, but they've done some improvements. I don't really want to say improvements, I do want to say variations to it, because whatever one is right for you kind of depends on what you're using it for. If you look at it, you can tell the main body is the same, but the front and the back are different. So what did they change? Well, up front, there's obviously a longer barrel with a priming system that wraps all the way around the barrel, which I always thought is neat when blasters do that, so I like that. There's enough space here if you want to put a scar barrel on the front of it for improved accuracy, and this is a more accurate blaster than the original Unicorn. They're both pretty accurate, but that's what you would expect with a longer barrel. But in the back here is the other change. This now has a buffer tube, and this is where the spring is housed. It does technically have a fast switch spring system in the back here. I don't know why you would really use this, to be honest, because this is under tension, so the moment you unspring that, it's just gonna fly out. This thing is really easy to take apart. It is just two push pins that you just yank out, and the upper comes off of the lower. This is actually how it will come in the box. Magazine out, upper and lower separate. It's very easy to put together. You screw in this buffer piece, put the spring in there, and just slap the upper on the lower, and you're done. You can figure it out, trust me. The one complaint I will have about putting this thing together is that it also comes with fiber optic inserts for the sights. And as you probably have noticed, I'm missing one of them, because they don't really stay in there. Now I know where this one is. I put it back in the bag because this thing just keeps falling out. I don't know why they're not just in the sights out of the factory. They should be. But I don't really like these sights anyway, even if they came that way, because let's just pull this stock out. In order to actually see the sights, my face has to be so low on the blaster, like I'm finally looking down the sights here. It's really hard to get your head low enough to actually see these sights. I would recommend putting a rail on top and using some sort of optic instead. These sights either need to be raised or just don't use them. Now, typically, you wouldn't be using them much because you're just fling and foam, you're kind of watching where the darts are flying, but with a Springer, these can be pretty accurate, so accurate sights are important. As for all the controls of the blaster, they are the same as the original Unicorn. There is a safety on this side, although I don't know a single person that actually uses the safety on dart blasters, but it is nice to have there. The trigger is just solid metal, same with the trigger guard, same with the buffer tube. There's a lot of parts on this that feel like solid metal. It doesn't feel like pot metal that would snap on you. As for the plastic, this is not just ABS plastic. Like I said a lot with the original Unicorn review, this is a blaster that's just built like a tank. You could be having a normal game at your local field, faceplant into the ground, jam this thing into a tree, it would be fine. Like, this thing is going to survive a lot. The one thing I think is not the best is this stock. It's fine, it's comfortable, it works, but I can see people replacing this for something else instead. Out of the box, it even comes with something to put in the grip and have a stock down here instead, or a Coke bottle for some reason. That is an option. They want you to screw a Coke bottle into the back here, but I prefer my stock to be more level with where I'm shooting. As for the prime, well, this thing shoots a good bit harder than the original Unicorn. The original Unicorn averaged about 130, 140 FPS with worker Gen 3s. When I chronoed this thing, I was averaging right around 200 FPS, so a good 60 FPS boost. Now, this is also with old chewed up worker Gen 3 darts, so if you have fresh darts, it might be shooting a little hotter. But of course, I also wanted the chrono with bamboo darts, just because I like doing that. And I was getting a lot less consistent results, somewhere between 220 to 240 FPS, so a 20 FPS variance, but that's to be expected with bamboo darts. Bamboo darts are lighter, and the way they're built, generally they're going to be less consistent, but you do get an FPS boost. They're not exactly practical, these in games. In fact, I think the standard nowadays has become these heavy darts by worker. You'll get less FPS, but these things do shoot a lot straighter. As for the prime, this comes with an angled foregrip. I actually don't prefer this as much as a regular foregrip. that the original Unicorn has. I much prefer this angle. However, with the stiffer spring, I guess they might have just assumed this wouldn't be as reliable. Maybe it would snap over time. I don't know. But I mean, this just has a rail underneath, so if you wanted to replace this angled foregrip with anything else, you can. The Prime is a little tougher, but nothing unmanageable by any means, and it's pretty fun to shoot. And if you want to, you can double fire it. Does work. So yeah, a pretty solid Springer all the way around. As for performance, I really don't have enough space in my house to show it off. All I have is like 30 feet down my hallway, and that's the best I'd be able to do. I did take this outside to my driveway. I don't really want to film out there, and I am in the Pacific Northwest, so it's raining as it always is. Not that that really stops me too much. I'm being lazy. I don't want to go film more, making excuses, being real, but I did test this out, and this thing is pretty darn accurate. If you're missing your shots, this is mostly on you with this thing. The magazine is conveniently Talon compatible. This is the one it comes with, and I mean, this completes the look and looks pretty good, but obviously you don't want to have to buy just these magazines, so pretty much any worker Talon style magazine is going to work in this blaster. Here's a regular 15 round worker Talon mag. Works in this blaster fine. Looks pretty good in it too. I think this might actually look better than the default magazine. 18 round worker Talon mag. Clicks in place just fine. Actually, this one, I think this kind of completes the look with a slight curve there. The 23 round Coda magazines are a little weird. At first I thought they didn't work because they go up to there and then they don't do a whole lot. You can pull them out, but just a little bit of a tap and now it's locked in place, and they do indeed work. Or even the 29 round Tachi mags. These don't have any problem. These work perfectly, and it always makes me giggle. It just looks really silly, but hey, if you need more ammo, sure, why not? Imagine going prone with this thing. Let's just get the regular mag back in. So yeah, I really liked the XYL Unicorn to start. It is a pretty solid Springer at a pretty decent price out of the box, but if you want something that's maybe a little more woodland, where you have a little bit more range, less CQB, you have a little more space for a longer barrel, then yeah, this is gonna be a pretty worthy buy all around. Out of Darts is selling this thing for 135 bucks, which is a pretty darn good price for what this is. Also, a massive thanks to Out of Darts for sending this to me to review to even begin with. It's not a sponsored video, but they did provide it to me for free. They're just not paying me anything. If you want to send me free blasters, I'm always down to try them out, especially when it was built off of something that I already knew I liked. But that should be about it for me. I got, I don't know, half a mag left here, so let's just shoot some stuff. And by stuff, I just mean these targets. So yeah, it hits him pretty hard. The one thing I will say about this blaster that's a little bit weird is that there is no way to dry fire the blaster. If it is primed, usually you would just pull the spring back and then press the trigger and release, but that doesn't work, so you have to dry fire it. But alright, that should sum up my review for the XYL Tactical Unicorn. Pretty worth the price. I'll put a link down below in the video information to the Out of Darts website where you can buy it if you wish. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.